Alright, what is going on guys, it's Tazz here, and welcome back to the channel. Now today what I've got for you guys is my review for the third and final part of this year's Elseworlds crossover. But before I get into anything, spoiler warning if you guys have not seen this crossover in its entirety, but with that out of the way, let's continue. Part 3 kicks off with a pretty cool intro monologue from John Deegan giving us a bit of his backstory, showing him experimenting on Nora Freeze and confirming that he did use the Book of Destiny to turn himself into the black-suited Injustice-style Superman. The episode then picks up where we left off last night with Deegan as Superman confronting Barry and Oliver and explaining his evil plan to them. Instead of trying to be the Flash like he said yesterday, he wanted to be more. He wanted to be Superman. So he rewrote reality, completely making himself into the Superman of Earth 1. And Deegan has gone completely mad with the power of the Book of Destiny, but in order to escape, Barry and Oliver have to force Deegan to spring into action and prove that he is really trying to be the Superman of this Earth. Back at Star Labs, we have Dig and Killer Frost greet Deegan as Superman, assuring him that he is the Superman of this Earth and they will catch Barry and Oliver when they get the chance. But this is when we have him go down to the pipeline where he has Kara locked up, telling her that he knows that she isn't from Earth 1, and again explaining his whole Superman plot to her. Here we also have Earth 1 Alex come into the mix, with Deegan figuring out that they have some sort of connection. Going back to Barry and Oliver, they walk through a door and end up in some space observation area with the Monitor watching over Earth 1's trial. He seemed to be pretty impressed with them and told them that the only way to survive would be by knowing their true selves. So after leaving the Monitor, this is where Barry and Oliver realize that everyone that was a hero originally is now a villain, so they go and try to find some help from Cisco. Arriving at the criminal bar, they are greeted by the bartender, who is none other than Gary from Legends, a fun little crossover cameo and a great line with him saying that the Trigger twins are legends to him. Very funny reference, and I love the cameo. And it is great to see that Gary will always be Gary no matter what has happened to reality. But this is when Oliver and Barry go over to try to get some help from Cisco, I mean Mr. Ramon, and he calls over the muscle Superman's worst pal Jimmy Olsen, which was hilarious as well. But Barry and Oliver do kind of get their butts kicked by Jimmy Olsen for a bit until they are able to convince Cisco to meet with them. Back in Star Labs, we have Kara try to get through to Alex for the first time, telling her that they were sisters where she comes from, but she doesn't quite believe her at first. Back over with Barry and Oliver, they are able to convince Cisco to breach them over to the Fortress of Solitude on Earth 38 to get some help from Clark and Lois in taking down the imposter Superman, aka John Deegan. While on the Fortress, we got some pretty funny interactions between everyone, and I think Cisco actually pocketed something while they were in there, which was pretty funny. But Clark goes with Barry, Oliver, and Cisco back over to Earth 1 to help try to put a stop to Deegan once and for all. Before they arrived, this is where we had our big emotional heart-to-heart of the episode between Kara and the Earth 1 Alex, where they were able to connect because of something that only Kara and Alex would know about. I really like this scene between the two of them, showing that no matter what happens to reality, no matter where they are, they will always be sisters and always have that connection. So I thought it was a nice little moment there. So that leads to Alex helping Kara escape from the pipeline. As they are trying to escape Star Labs, this is where Diggle, Agent Frost, and Deegan come up in the elevator ready to stop them. And this is where we have the Fortress crew breach in and take on Deegan, but not before Cisco dips out of there. Oliver takes on Killer Frost and Diggle, Clark faces Deegan, and Barry goes with Alex and Kara to the Time Vault to secure the Book of Destiny. I thought the fight between Superman and Deegan was pretty cool to see, and we got a nice Bizarro name drop, which was really nice to hear. But after Kara was able to get the book, she brings it to Clark and starts to put things back to where they should be. Everyone gets their powers and suits back, but that is when he is stopped by Deegan, who is able to take the book back after threatening Barry, causing Oliver to make a difficult choice about not letting his darkness consume him. Deegan gets away with the book, and the Trinity along with Superman go back to Star Labs to come up with a plan to stop Deegan before he completely destroys reality. And here's where we get a really awesome OG Superman movie reference, with Barry and Kara having to run around the Earth to slow things down, which I thought was really awesome, but stopping Deegan was originally going to come at a price. Because of this, we have Oliver confront the Monitor once again in his realm, or whatever you want to call it, and he stands up to him like no one else has done before, making a deal with him of sorts. Back out on the streets, we have part of Team Supergirl breach in along with Lois Lane to help Clark out stop Deegan, who now has written Ramezo back into the story. Brainy goes off to take care of him, while Lois distracts Deegan with the hammer long enough for Oliver to come back in and shoot Deegan with a Book of Destiny destroying arrow. And that gives Deegan's face a very comic looking skull, so comic accurate Dr. Destiny could come back in the future. Very cool to see. But after stopping Deegan and destroying the book, Barry and Kara Kara are able to survive their run and come back to a fully restored reality. But back over at Star Labs, we have everyone say their goodbyes as we see everyone's favorite Kryptonian leave to go back to Earth-38 along with Clark, Lois, John, and Brainy. So we go back to Smallville and the Kent farm, getting something I was definitely not expecting from this crossover. We have Lois and Clark reveal to Kara that they are not only going back to Argo City for a while, but also that Lois is pregnant. So does this mean that we will see a Jonathan Kent Superboy at some point in the future? That would be very cool to see. Then all we would need would be Damian Wayne Robin, and we could have a Super Son spinoff. I would actually really love that. CW, please make this a thing. But still in Earth-38, we have another big Lois and Clark scene where Clark actually proposes to Lois within the fortress, and her of course saying yes. So this is really cool to see that we are getting so close to that comic book Superman, where him and Lois are married and have a son, Jonathan Kent, aka Superboy. I know Clark said that he wanted to hang up the cape for a bit, but I would totally be on board for a Superman series. I love Tyler as the character, and I think Elizabeth Tulloch did an amazing job as well as Lois Lane throughout the crossover, so a spin-off would be really nice to see. But back over on Earth 1, as I suspected, we have one of the final scenes of the crossover with Barry and Oliver sharing a drink at the bar, talking about what they've just been through. Throughout the crossover, they have come to a greater understanding of each other and have grown a lot closer by living as each other for a bit, so I think this was a really nice moment between the two of them. In addition to all of the great scenes of the Trinity just hanging out over the last few episodes, I really enjoyed Barry and Oliver being able to hang out as well, giving us some great moments while they're fighting this crazy space god known as the Monitor. But their drinks are cut short when Oliver receives a call from Batwoman telling him that Deegan has made a new friend within Arkham. As the camera pans over to the cell next to Deegan's, we see that it is Psycho-Pirate that did show up in last night's episode too, but he didn't really have a significant role. But he recites the famous "worlds will live, worlds will die, and the universe will never be the same" line. So this is followed by the greatest tease of all time, coming fall 2019, Crisis on Infinite Earths. All throughout the scene when it was first playing out, I was like, no, they're not doing this. There's no way that they're actually going to set this up. There's no way that they're going to confirm this to us. And then we get the tease, fall 2019 coming, Crisis on Infinite Earths. We knew that this was going to be a thing because of the Monitor and the whole testing the universes, incoming Crisis. You know, I mean, it's pretty easy to kind of pick it out that they're going to be doing Crisis on Infinite Earths, but I just didn't think that they would ever actually just come out and confirm it to us and say, hey, coming next year, we're going to do the craziest DC Comics run ever. We're going to just do something crazy and just go all out there. I thought this crossover was crazy, but no, next year is just going to be completely off the rails. So your boy Barry Allen better watch out because the Anti-Monitor is coming to town. Or, I guess, the universe, or Earth 1, whatever you want to say. The Anti-Monitor is coming, and yeah, Barry's gonna die, probably, because Crisis. So I assume that next year we will have the return of the Monitor asking for help from our heroes to fight back against the Anti-Monitor. Fingers crossed this may be where we have the merging of Earth 1 and Earth-38, but whatever happens, Crisis on Infinite Earths next year, I am already super excited, but overall guys, it is safe to say that this was the best DC TV crossover by far. I have really enjoyed them all, but the Elseworlds crossover was just on a complete other level. So many Easter eggs and references, it was still hilarious yet serious at points, we had some amazing character moments, some great characters introduced, and so much setup for future stories on each of the shows, as well as our tease for the next year's crossover. This is just going to be insane, guys. I love this crossover, I love the introduction of Batwoman, I can't wait to see more of her, I really enjoyed the Monitor too, and I really hope he comes back next year, and I'm just super excited for the future of the Arrowverse. So I want to know your thoughts on all of this down in the comments below. What did you think of the finale of the crossover? Which episode was your favorite? What did you think of the crossover overall? And are you excited for Crisis on Infinite Earths next year? I want to know your thoughts on all of this down in the comments below. But until next time, guys, it's been Tazz, and I'll see you guys in the next video.